Okay, here we are. Welcome to another live broadcast of Career Alchemy. And I am your host, Lori Swanson, a career wayfinder coach, the CEO of Inspire Tech, a career coaching company, and the founder of Career Alchemy Academy, as you can see over my shoulder. With the QR code, if you want to learn more about it. Career Alchemy Academy is a membership community for women in and around technology who are looking for greater support, um, ideas, perspectives, accountability, motivation, inspiration. Whether you're on a job search or in a career pivot or facing, one of those life events like retirement approaching or empty nesting, or a change in what's happening at your work. Maybe there's new leadership, something like that, that's having you consider something new for yourself, something different for yourself, a different way to look at your career, a different way to approach your career, or a new career altogether. That's what Alchemy Academy is all about. We are there in transformation, in support, and in belief that what we yearn for is possible and that we don't have to go it alone. So join me inside Career Alchemy Academy. Um, Today, what I want to talk about is how a job search or a difficult boss or a tough project might be shaping you. So I'm curious about that. I had been thinking about it and decided to kind of go down, um, the rabbit hole with it. And what prompted it was I had a I had a bit of a, an aha moment, a light bulb moment, eureka. But I recognize that one of the reasons that the building of Inspire Tech and Career Alchemy Academy, this new business. So I thought it was going to be easy, or not super hard. Like I thought this isn't going to be so bad. And the reason I thought that was because this was my third business. Like I had been a CEO of a multi-million-dollar recruiting firm. I had worked in a partnership before that. I knew how to run a business. I knew about sales. I knew about marketing. I knew about hiring. I knew about, I had operational know-how. I knew all of that stuff. So I thought to myself, oh, I'm just starting a new business and I have all this knowledge and know-how that I'm bringing with me. And so it's going to be relatively easy. Well, not so much. The business did have a lot of similarities to what I'd done before, but like a job search or a project that you're leading, or a new boss where you're just not clicking, what might not be your first rodeo on any of those. It certainly wasn't my first rodeo, and so that was where the misconception came in, that because I'd done a job search before, let's say, that this job search was going to be easy, or because I'd navigated through difficult relationships before, I'd be able to easily navigate through this one, or because I'd been on projects that had gone sideways before and figured out, and was able to, get them across the finish line, that this time that this would, I'd also be able to do that with ease. And the thought is that because I've done it before, I've been with this before, that I know how it's going to go. And it's that assumption that held me back. It's what I call, inside of Career Alchemy Academy, we do mindset work, right? And so I will say, tell me about the thought error there. What's the thought error? Why, if what you're wanting isn't happening, I will go back and want to investigate the thought errors, because the thoughts create our outcomes, right? And it's not our actions, but it's our thoughts that are creating our outcomes. So if the actions that we're doing are creating an outcome that is less than ideal, we don't go back and change the actions. We can, but and we will eventually, but the step that often gets missed, which is the most important, is what were the thoughts you were thinking when you were creating the actions and doing the actions that ended up in the outcome that was less than ideal. So all that to say that it was my thought error that I assumed it would be easy-ish, right? I assumed it'd be easy-ish. And that expectation created resistance when things got hard. So then when it wasn't as easy, my resistance flared up, right? And that resistance made everything harder. The shift came when I stopped resisting and simply allowed it to be exactly as it was. Instead of me trying to shape the path I was going, I allowed the experience to shape me, the easy and the hard. So when we want our job search or our relationships at work or the projects we're involved in to feel good all the time, when that's our desire, what actually happens is we miss and we resist the hard, but we're also missing the alchemist gold. In this case, as I began to allow the hard to shape me and actually guide me and lead me, I built my resilience and my flexibility. I expanded my capacity to be with discomfort. I grew my ability to solve real problems. And I became the person who can rise to meet challenges with confidence. And that would be true for you as well. When there's that paradox that when we allow things to be hard, we become the version of ourselves that creates the ease we're searching for. And we also evolve ourselves through greater resiliency, through greater flexibility, through, like being in creative response to what wants to happen instead of trying to fight what wants to happen. That's kind of what I mean by flexibility and allowing, right? And being shaped by. It's this creative response. It's being led from the inside out. We expand our capacity to be with uncomfortable situations, So as you do that, all of those things that I mentioned, the growing of your capacity to be with discomfort, your problem solving skills, your detective solution finding skills, all of that gets sharper, and you become that person who instead of wanting it all to be easy, you actually look forward to those challenges and allowing them to shape you and evolve you and create you into a better project manager, a better leader, better, I guess I would say as more powerful, more expanded version of yourself, a stronger, more, person in whatever role that you have, and inside the job search, and inside the Sideways project, and inside the relationships that are feeling strained. You evolve and you become a more powerful version of yourself with that. So hard isn't wrong. It becomes hard when we fight it. We add to it, becomes just heavier, right? When we fight it, but when we believe it shouldn't be happening, that's a big one for me. Like, this shouldn't be happening. Why is this happening? The fact is, I say this a lot too in coaching, is how do we know that we were meant to be experiencing this? How do we know that this was meant to be happening? Because it's happening. So don't resist it. What resists persists, right? Don't resist it, but go with it, lean into it. Instead, when you decide to lean into the hard, and you meet it with grace and presence and curiosity and openness, you unlock your own power. Suddenly you're not waiting for it to be easier, but you're creating the energy and the mindset that allows you to move through whatever this difficult situation is with grace, with more ease, that paradox, right? And with steadiness. You don't get thrown off your game. You become the calm in the center of the storm, and that people are actually looking towards for guidance, for leadership, for your intuitive gift of knowing what the next step is. Are we to take an action, or are we to take no action at all? Like those sorts of insights and higher knowing is able to come through as you relax into, how do I know this is supposed to be happening? Because it's happening. Because it's happening. So whether you're applying for jobs or navigating a tense conversation at work with your boss or managing a project that isn't going as planned, that version of you that allows the hard is the one that transforms all of it. Let that sink in. When you allow things to be hard, when you allow it to be difficult, when you receive that, you transform it. That's where the transformation happens. So ease isn't the absence of challenge, but allowing the hard is what creates the ease. So that's it for today. And again, if you want to stop fighting the hard and start creating the version of you that moves with clarity, with energy, with confidence in your career through challenging projects, challenging conversations, a challenging job search, Career Alchemy Academies is where it's at. It's in their song, it's where it's at. So I'm not going to sing today. I'll spare you that, even though I do love to sing. And it isn't about how good it is. Don't let my kids get in your ear. It isn't about how good it is. It's about how much joy it brings you when you're singing karaoke. All right. So that was a little tangent, but I just want to say thank you for those of you who are able to join me live. Thank you for those who are listening to the recording. Thank you to Restream for creating. I'm part of a trial of this new tool where they're able to take my LinkedIn Lives here that I'm doing and YouTube Lives. Welcome to my YouTubers. And they're clipping them up and adding captions, and AI at its very, very best for us content creators. I love it so much. So peace, enjoy the weather wherever you're at, enjoy the summer, enjoy each other, create ease in your day by just receiving whatever wants to come, because you know that if it's there, why? Because it's supposed to be. And I'll talk to you soon.